Okie dokie, off you go.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's Tip Tuesday. Sorry we couldn't get one out last week. We thought while things were a little bit quiet for us that we'd sneak away camping for a few days, and that was down at Gungutty, Dun Swamp. So if you happen to be in the Mudgee area in New South Wales, highly check out the Wallamai National Park. There
Highly
it's
check out.
highly
Highly recommend checking out.
checking that out. Sorry, beautiful place for swimming and camping as well. So absolutely fantastic. But for today's topic, we're going through how to know when your succulents are ready to pot up. So, but before we go any further, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification button as well, and when we upload future videos, you'll get notified and you can watch them at your own leisure. So yeah, so with knowing when your plants are ready, I generally like to go off the size of the root system. You can go off the size of the plant as well, but you want to make sure that you've got a decent root system in particular. Because if you've got root systems too small, you go into a larger pot, you've got moisture that'll be sitting in that potting mix for too long, and you're asking for the plant to rot, unfortunately, on you. So always good to make sure that you've got a really good root system, and we'll go through some of these plants here, and yeah, then you'll know to gradually, especially if you're growing them in pots, it's very important to just gradually increase the size pots, going from a small 9 centimeter pot to 10 centimeter, and then you can go up to 14 centimeter pot there. So depending on the root system. So we can start off with our plugs here. So we've got a couple of varieties here. We've got Cotyledon tomentosa bear's paw, very popular plant and absolutely stunning with the little claws on the on the tips. And yeah, so I love growing them in the cell trays just because they have their own little space to grow. There's not really any competition at all. There's less transplant shock when I'm actually potting them up, and I just like that. And they're easy to to pull out. I don't have to get in there with a stick or some scissors or secateurs or whatever. Try and dig them out of like seedling trays where they're all stuck together.
Sorry, before you move on, what was the other one?
Yeah, so that was the bear's paws, and this one is Graptoveria Debbie. A very popular one as well. It's just stunning color. I don't know how good it shows on the video there, but it is beautiful.
Not as purple as in real life.
Yeah, so all I do is just pull it out, and there you go. Very easy in a plug. That's a really good root system there, and it is ready. You can put, I don't really like putting them when the root system is too small. As I said before, if they're going into a larger pot where there's a lot of potting mix and it's really tiny root system, they really struggle to get going, and also you're highly likely to get root rot there. So we grow pretty much all of our plants in the 9 centimeter pots here. So we'll just put the plug straight into there, and they love it. They go crazy. So yep. So we'll do, yeah, that's what you're looking for if you're doing them in the plugs. You've got Echeveria Bluebird here. I like to grab, because they've got a lot of Farina, which is a white chalky powder on them. It's kind of like sunscreen for them. I like to grab them underneath the leaves, because you're not really going to see under the bottom of the leaves, mainly on the top there. So we want to make sure that we keep it nice and beautiful, because if you rub a bit of that Farina off, it's highly unlikely that it is going to redevelop that powder there. So
you just have to wait till the leaves outgrow it.
Yeah, so I just grab them underneath, and yeah, you can see that's a really nice root system there, and it's getting ready to be potted up too. And also, I didn't mention before, but it's really important to know what type of varieties of your succulents are actually growing this particular time of the year as well. So for example, with this Haworthia limifolia spider white, these guys are actually dormant this time of the year. It's actually got a really good root system. It's almost kind of like root bound, as they call it. So this is definitely ready to go into the next size, but I won't do it just yet. I'll wait till autumn. So next month, probably more towards March, April is when I'll start. The weather will really start to cool down, and it'll be okay to pot up then. If you do have a plant that's root system is really like dense, like its roots, like root bound, you can just grab some scissors or secateurs, and or a knife, but just be careful that you obviously don't cut yourself, and you always cut away from yourself. And I just do little cuts like this. You can use your fingers too, that's fine, whatever's easier for you, and that just breaks it up and just helps to get those roots away from wrapping themselves around Succulents, it's not too bad, but if you're going into like trees, it's quite important that you avoid having those roots wrap around, because that can create a weak point later on when that tree is nice and mature. Get a strong wind or a storm and it can actually break and snap. So succulents, it's not as important because they're only tiny. They're not going to really cause much damage, but it is nice to make sure that you avoid those roots from wrapping themselves around, and it keeps them nice and happy there. So this guy will be getting a nice pot up very soon, and you can actually see that part of the root there. That's actually a new plant. So limifolias love to actually grow their new plants or their pups from their root system. So yeah, we'll just cut that from there. It's got its own little root to start with, and away it goes. So that's that one there. And now, see, I've already started to break up some of the roots. It's struggling to get back into its pot. There we go, got it. And yeah, then the couple of varieties here, we've got Echeveria Aetna as well. Quite an unusual plant, but beautiful. And that one there's got a nice root system too, and that's ready to be potted up as well.
What you keep saying a nice root system, but what? So it's, if you can see the roots on
the edge,
if you can see
a fair bit of the roots like around the potting mix and underneath as well, that's good. If you're only seeing like a root here and there, I would leave it in that pot for, I don't know, if it's going into it, if it's in its growing season, it can take a couple of weeks or a month. But if it's not in its growing season and it's dormant, it can take a lot longer, a couple of months or maybe a bit more. So yeah, good to check them regularly if you need to know if they need potting up. And then we've got Echeveria Raindrops as well, which this is actually growing in a 7-centimeter pot when we used to grow them in this. So this one's, we've had this for a little while. You can see that it's actually quite dense there. So it's, the roots are really fine, but it's quite dense there. So that definitely needs to go into a bigger pot, and we would probably just
have a bit of a tease.
Yeah, give it a bit of a tease. That's what some people call it as well, and that will allow those roots to be nice and free and grow happily as well. Very important to also make sure when you're maintaining your plants that you're removing all these dead leaves from around the base of the plant. You really want ventilation, and it's really important pretty much all year round. Otherwise, if you're getting if you've got a lot of your dead leaves stuck there, you know, there's going to be humidity and all that sort of thing around the base of the plant that's just going to stick there. It's not really going to go anywhere, and that can also cause rot too. And little annoying pests like to hide in there too. So like the mealybug is one big one that loves to hide in dead leaves. So very important to make sure that you clean that up. Look nice and beautiful. Looks happy. Well, we'll be happy soon, and allows plenty of good ventilation to flow all the way through the crown. And
so pretty.
Yeah, it just reduces your chances of rot there as well. And other fungal issues too, like black spot. So big frilly plants or bumpy plants like your raindrops and your Aetna, they can be quite susceptible to black spots. So if you've got a lot of humidity, they can suffer from that as well. And powdery mildew too. And that's about it really. It's quite a simple thing. Just make sure that you're regularly checking your plants, making sure that you can see enough roots around or in the potting mix. If you see that, then it's a good sign that it's ready to be potted up. But also very important to make sure you know what varieties of succulents are actually growing, because if they're in a growing time of the year, then it's a perfect time to pot them up. But if they're dormant, just hold off until they come out of dormancy and go into active growing weather. And yeah, if you've got a really big root system like that, an old plant or that you've just left in a particular pot for too long, make sure you just tease those roots, make them nice and loose, and when you go potting them up, they'll be happy and start to spread their wings, I suppose you could say, and go crazy there. So yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. And yeah, hopefully you're having a great week. And also, we thought we'd just throw it out there. I don't think we've mentioned it before, but we actually do sell our plants. We sell them online, only within Australia, sorry, but there are some states, so WA and Northern Territory and Tasmania, where we can't actually send out plants to because you need permits. So they've got pretty strict quarantine rules, and we are unable to do that at the moment. But all the other states, it's fine, and ACT, that we can actually send those plants. So just jump on to www.mix-succulents.com.au and you'll see what we have available.
Links in the description below.
Yep, links in the description below. So, yep, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you next Tuesday. See yous.